exactly while rolling a log that someone got the idea of using a wheel. But there were problems. It was difficult getting over rough roads, and wheels sunk into mud and soft ground. This problem was solved in England over 200 years ago when some rails were fastened to the ground in a coal mine. The heavy coal wagons had wheels that fit under each track. At first, railroads used horses to pull the cars. Some even put the horses inside the car. The horses worked machinery to make the car go, something like pedaling a bicycle. About this time, steam engines were becoming practical for use in the rail cars. In 1829, 4 of these first locomotives were brought to the United States. People called them iron horses, but they looked more like big tea kettles or stoves. In Baltimore, Peter Cooper built a small locomotive and called it the Tom Thumb. The drivers of the horse cars laughed when they saw it, and one whipped up his horse and started a race. Peter Cooper threw more wood on the fire. The Tom Thumb blew out smoke, sparks, and steam, and soon passed the galloping horse. Just then, a belt slipped. The steam pressure dropped, and Peter Cooper lost the race. But he had proved to everyone what steam power could do. Some of the first cars were very fancy, but still not very comfortable or safe. Smoke and sparks from the engine blew back into them, getting dirt and ashes over everything. And sometimes an iron strap would break loose from the wooden rails and rip up through the bottom of the car. People were frightened by the tremendous power of steam, and this train carried a car loaded with cotton bales to protect the riders from a boiler explosion. But with all these problems, the steam locomotive was working. People were interested in them, and many new ideas were developed to improve the railroads. Solid iron rails quickly replaced the old strap and wood type. By 1835, there were over 200 railroad lines with 1,000 miles of track in the eastern United States. To speed things up, several trains ran on one track. At certain spots along the way, a short section of track went off to one side. This let a train pull off the main line onto the siding, while another one passed going the other way. At first, a policeman would signal the engineers when to pull over onto a siding. But as trains went faster, other systems were tried. A time schedule was set up. This way, the engineer used his watch to tell him when the other train was due, and he would switch his train onto a siding and wait for the other one to pass. But sometimes the other train got stuck, and the train on the siding would wait all day. This system was dangerous, too. No one was really sure that the track ahead was clear. So many elaborate signals were used. Some had flags or big balls on ropes. Then came brightly painted boards that swung up or down that showed if the tracks ahead were clear. But the best signal device was Samuel Morse's telegraph, invented in 1844. With the dot and dash code, a message could be sent great distances along a thin wire. Station agents along the way could tell exactly where each train was and direct them safely. When the Civil War began, both sides depended on the railroads. Whole armies with their horses, wagons, tents, cannon, and ammunition were moved by rail. To hold back their enemy, each side tried to wreck the other's railroads. Some bridges and track sections were ruined and rebuilt over and over again. Most of the railroads were in the north, and this gave the Union Army a great advantage. One of the results of the Civil War was to show just how important railroads were. America was becoming an industrial nation. Trains brought coal, oil, iron ore, and cotton to the factories, distributed manufactured products, even to the nation's furthest and wildest frontiers. In the far west, the Indians hated to see the railroad. The plains were their hunting grounds, and often they would attack railroad workers and destroy everything they could. In spite of all the troubles, the railroads continued to grow. In 1869, after 5 years of work, railroad tracks from the east were joined to the tracks from the west at Promontory Point in Utah. With great ceremony, a golden spike was hammered into place to complete the job. By telegraph, the news was spread across the nation, and people everywhere rang bells and shot cannon to celebrate. Now the railroad had crossed the entire continent. The 1850s became the age of decorated locomotives. Often an engineer would keep the whistle and headlamp from his old locomotive and put them on his new one. They were very proud of their engines and kept them just like people today keep their cars. The years that followed produced railroad heroes and heroines, like Kate Shelley, who saved many lives one stormy night. The evening express train was roaring towards certain destruction. Ahead, the floodwaters had washed away the bridge. Kate grabbed a lantern and started across the high railroad bridge to warn the station master. Halfway across, the storm blew out her lantern, and now only the flashing lightning helped guide her way from tie to tie across the dangerous bridge. But Kate Shelley was in time to stop the train. And then there's Casey Jones, who lost his life to save many others. Part of a freight train was stuck on the right-of-way as his Cannonball Express roared at close to 100 miles an hour. Casey stayed in the engine, slowing down his train, and prevented a much worse wreck. America's railroads became the largest in the world and improved our whole way of living. Country towns and big cities were within quick and easy traveling distances from each other. The electric train appeared. They were clean and could get started faster than steam locomotives. In 1924, the diesel engine was perfected. Diesel engines are cleaner, more powerful, and cheaper to run than steam locomotives. Today, almost all engines are either electric or diesel. Railroad cars have come a long way, too, from the smoky old stagecoach type to the air-conditioned streamliners with their dining cars, glass-topped observation cars, and sleepers. Passenger cars all look pretty much alike, but you never know what to expect on a freight train. Here are cattle cars from the huge ranches out west, tank cars filled with gasoline. With a tank like that, you could drive an automobile around and around the world 15 times. Those new farm tractors are carried on a flat car from a factory in Minneapolis. That's anthracite coal from West Virginia. There could be anything from peanuts to automobiles inside a boxcar. Some boxcars are refrigerated to carry meats, vegetables, and fruits. A new use for trains is carrying truck trailers. At the station, a truck will hook up the trailer and take it the rest of the trip. And here's the caboose. That's the end of the train.